I'm Peggy Carr, the Associate Commissioner at NCES, responsible for assessments, and it is indeed my pleasure to share with you today the NAEP 2019 science results at grades 4, 8, and 12. These results provide a last look at students' performance nationally prior to the COVID-19 pandemic and the resulting disruptions in American schooling as we knew it. This science assessment also concludes our 2019 main NAEP data collections. We have previously released both reading and mathematics at grades 4, 8, and 12. As a reminder, we collected these data between January and March of 2019. The sample for science was national only at all 3 grades. And you can see the school and student sample sizes here. Additionally, this was the first administration of science on tablet computers. So let's begin with defining what is NAEP science. That wonderful video from the National Assessment Governing Board did a great job in describing the content area, so I won't have to spend too much time here. The science assessment measured students' familiarity with the natural world, including their knowledge of scientific concepts, their understanding of scientific principles, laws, and theories, and their ability to engage in scientific inquiry. As outlined in the science framework, there are 3 content areas for NAEP science: physical science, life science, and earth and space science. I will share results for these 3 content areas later in the presentation so we can see how students perform, not just overall, but within these 3 content areas. The framework also identifies 4 science practices. They cut across each content area. They include identifying science principles, using science principles, using scientific inquiry, and using technological design. Before I share the results, I wanted to highlight a unique aspect of the science assessment, and that is our scenario-based tasks, also known as SBTs. Although our assessment is fully digital now and includes interactive discrete questions, SBTs are a bit different. Part of the assessment since 2009, these scenario-based tasks engage students in computer-simulated scenarios, allowing them to demonstrate skills of scientific inquiry that discrete and short response items may not always capture. There are 2 types of tasks: interactive computer tasks, which allows students to conduct investigations in a computer-simulated environment, and hybrid hands-on tasks. These tasks involve NCES-provided science kits, which allow students to conduct investigations using materials provided. Students then record the results on a tablet computer. We have released 3 of these tasks, 1 at each grade. They include how seas travel at grade 4, clear water at grade 8, and bicycle materials at grade 12. How seas travel is a 30-minute hybrid hands-on task in life science. It measures students' understanding that organisms have certain characteristics that help them survive and reproduce. In the scenario, students are planting a vegetable garden and notice that dandelions are also growing in the garden. The question is, how did they get there? The students are provided actual seeds and are asked to predict whether they spread by wind or by animals. A fun task. The Clearwater task is a 30-minute interactive computer task in the Earth and Space Sciences content area. This task asks how human activities can alter Earth's systems, such as land and waterways. Students engage in scientific inquiry to investigate the cause of cloudiness in a river that flows into a lake used for fishing and recreation. Bicycle Materials is a 15-minute interactive computer task in physical science. It assesses 12th graders' knowledge about the properties of matter and changes in matter. The task assesses students' understanding of how chemical elements, like metals, are grouped in the periodic table based on similar characteristics. They are asked to analyze the atomic structure and physical properties, density and hardness, of 3 different metals to determine the best material to use to construct a lightweight and strong bicycle frame. I will begin with an overview of all 3 grades compared to the previous assessment in 2015. Here you see the top line has average scale scores and indicates whether the score is different from the 2015 assessment. Grades 4, 8, and 12 are represented in the columns. In 2019, grade 4 students showed a 2-point decline, indicated by the downward pointing arrow. Performance at grade 8 and 12 did not change from 2015, as indicated by the gray diamonds. Next, we'll take a look at performance by percentiles. At grade 4, higher performers, those at the 75th and 90th percentiles, did not show any change from 2015. But middle performers, those at the 50th, and lower performers, those at the 25th and the 10th percentiles, declined. At grade 8, you also see the lowest performers declining, while grade 12 has no change. The decline that we're seeing amongst the lower performing students, particularly the 25th and the 10th percentiles, is concerning because this is a pattern we've seen before in other subjects. Finally, let's look at the content areas: life science and earth and space sciences. At grade 4, student performance there declined compared to 2015, but no changes at either grade 8 or 12. Now that we have the overview picture, let's take a closer look at each grade, beginning with grade 4. Here you see the grade 4 science results for the first year, 2009, and the previous year, 2015, and the most recent year, 2019. An asterisk indicates a statistically significant difference from 2019. As we saw a moment ago, 4th grade performance has declined from 2015. However, scores are up by about a point from 2009, as indicated again by the asterisk. Results by race ethnicity show that white and Black students' performance declined compared to 2015. However, all racial ethnic groups, except whites, have shown improvement since 2009. This improvement has resulted in the narrowing of the white Black, white Hispanic, white American Indian Alaskan Native, and the white 2 or more races achievement gaps. The white Asian Pacific Islander scores are not statistically different from each other. The gender story is also interesting. While both boys and girls did show a decline from 2015, girls are still performing better than they did a decade ago. Boys are not. Turning to our percentiles, you see from 2009, higher performers have improved, while others have remained flat. And like we pointed out a moment ago, middle and lower performing students have shown declines compared to the previous assessment. The content story is a mixed bag. From 2015, performance in life science and earth and space sciences has declined 4 points and 2 points, respectively. The life science declines were experienced across the distribution, with all percentiles declining except the highest performers. In all three content areas, the students at the 10th, 25th have declined compared to 2015. However, compared to 2009, overall scores for physical science and earth and space sciences have improved along with the performance of higher and middle performers. In earth and space sciences, those at the 25th percentile improved. There was no change overall in life science, and scores for the lowest performers declined. The achievement level findings mirror the percentile findings. That is, the bottom of the distribution grew compared to 2015, and the top of the distribution grew compared to 2009. 27% of the fourth graders performed below NAEP Basic in 2019, which was greater than the 2015 data point. 36% of fourth graders performed at or above NAEP Proficient. This percentage is lower than the previous assessment, but higher than the 34% in 2009. That completes the grade 4 overview. Now let's look at the grade 8 results. Again, asterisks indicate statistical significance from 2019. No changes were observed overall from 2015, but there was improvement from both 2009 and 2011. I should also note that there is a score for grade 8 in 2011, while there isn't one for grades 4 and 12. That is because NCES did a very interesting study aligning NAEP with the trends in international mathematics and science study, also known as TIMS. We have projected scores for all states, grade 8, on the TIMS assessment, a very interesting study. For race ethnicity, we see no change from 2015, but all groups have increased their scores. And like grade 4, the white Black, white Hispanic, white American Indian Alaskan Native, and white 2 or more races gaps narrowed. Performance between white and Asian Pacific Islanders is not statistically different. Looking at results by gender, there is improvement for both boys and girls. While in 2009, performance between 8th grade boys and girls was different, the gap has been closed. 8th grade girls and boys in science are no different from each other. This is a finding I just reported for grade 4. So it's really encouraging to see girls closing the gender gap, especially with the emphasis on STEM. When we examine the percentile story, we see improvement from 2009 across the distribution. Higher, middle, and lower performers all showed improvement. However, from 2015, the lowest performing students have lost ground. The content areas show no change in the overall scores from 2015. But we do see the scores of the lowest performers declining across all three content areas, while the scores of the higher performers have improved in both physical science and life science. From 2009, Overall scores have improved in 2 of the 3 content areas. That improvement has been mirrored with increased scores among students from the 25th to the 90th percentiles in physical science and life science. The achievement levels show that a third of 8th graders are performing below NAEP Basic, and 35% are performing at or above NAEP Proficient. Both numbers are unchanged since 2015, but have improved since 2009. Finally, let's take a look at grade 12 results. There are no asterisks in the grade 12 results, indicating no change in the average score. It remains at 150. The percentiles largely show the same pattern, except for the 10th percentile. There we see a decline amongst the lowest performers since 2009. Not shown here, but worth mentioning, is that there were no performance changes for either race, ethnicity, or gender since 2009 or 2015. However, there is still a performance gap between 12th grade boys and girls. Recall that that was not the case in either 4th or 8th grades. There is no change in the content areas overall compared to both 2015 and 2009. The percentiles do show a little movement. Notably, both physical science and life science declined at the 10th percentile compared to both 2009 and 2015. The achievement level findings show 41% of 12th graders performed below NAEP Basic in science, and 22% performed at or above NAEP Proficient. As part of the NAEP data collection, we asked students, teachers, and staff about their educational environment. We've highlighted a couple of findings here, but please visit the report card, the nation's report card, for even more insight. I do want to emphasize, though, that these next few slides have correlational data and therefore should not be used to establish a cause and effect relationship. This is because there are many factors that may influence student achievement. We asked 4th grade teachers and 8th grade students how often they engage in various scientific inquiry tasks. 30% of grade 4 students have teachers that say they never, to once or twice a year, engage in scientific inquiry. 42% of grade 8 students say they never, to once in a while, engage in scientific inquiry. These results suggest that the more frequently a student engages in scientific inquiry, the higher their NAEP scores. But of course, it could be the opposite. We also asked 12th graders about their course taking. In 2019, 41% reported having taken biology, chemistry, and physics. 37% reported taking biology and chemistry, and 22% reported taking biology and another science class. To see how course taking may correlate with performance, we can examine findings by percentiles. Students at or above the 75th percentile, represented by the medium blue, are more likely to have taken the 3 science courses compared to those below the 25th percentile in the lighter blue. On the other extreme, lower performers are more likely to have only taken biology or another course compared to the higher performers. This suggests a clear relationship, although again correlational, between course taking and performance on NAEP science. We observed similar course taking patterns among the race ethnicity groups except for Asian students. Almost 60% of these students report taking all 3 science courses, significantly higher than any other racial ethnic group. Similarly, males reported taking all 3 science courses at a higher rate than their female counterparts. It will be interesting to see how these data from the high school transcript study can help contextualize these findings. This data can help us examine differences in who is offered all 3 science courses and differences by school, location, region, etc. So let's keep a lookout for this study. It's coming up soon, later this year. Before we transition to questions, let's quickly summarize our results. Compared to 2015, grade 4 scores are lower, while grade 8 and 12 scores are unchanged. Compared to a decade ago, student performance in grades 4 and 8 improved, while performance at grade 12 did not change. Scores declined for students at the 10th percentile compared to 2015 overall, and across all content areas in both grades 4 and 8. 27% of students at grade 4, 33% at grade 8, and 41% at grade 12 did not reach the NAEP basic achievement level. And 41% of 12th graders reported taking biology, chemistry, and physics. So we thought it might be interesting to take a look at patterns in the percentile findings across all 3 subjects. By that I mean science, reading, and mathematics over the past 10 years. Divergence, when higher performers are holding steady or improving, while lower performers are holding steady or declining, really has been a theme of the releases this decade. Here we will examine the pattern more closely. Let us begin with grade 4. You will notice the columns represent science, reading, and mathematics. And we're comparing data over the decades, so from 2009. In grade 4, you'll notice that higher performing students have improved over the decades across all 3 subjects, while lower performing students have either showed no change or declined. In grade 8, you see that science is bucking the trend and that all percentiles have improved over the decade, resulting in overall improvement. However, in math and reading, higher performers are improving, while lower performers are declining. The no change from a decade ago is a result of these groups pulling apart from each other. Finally, we see for grade 12, the lowest performing students have declined from 2009 in all 3 subjects, while the top is flat. The overall score for math and reading is being pulled down by lower performers losing ground. These results can be found online at nationsreportcard.gov. You can also explore the scenario-based tasks on this site. Follow NAEP on Facebook at the National Assessment of Educational Progress and on Twitter at NAEP_NCES. In conclusion, as always, I would like to offer our sincere thanks to the students, teachers, and schools who participated in the 2019 NAEP Science Assessment.